SWP Disciple checking in. So I'm in the dead of upstate New York, probably closing in on Syracuse in a little bit, maybe 70 miles away or so. So pretty well upstate New York. It is, well, my clock says 10:18. The actual correct time is 10:12. Actually, even that is a couple minutes fast, so probably like 10:10 right now. ETA is about 3:40 in the morning. I can crash when I get there, get up around like noon time, and then join the fray with the rest of the family for this family reunion, as it were. I shouldn't say as it were, it really is a family reunion, complete with t-shirts and everything, which I haven't bought one yet, but I'll probably grab one when I'm up there. So as you can tell, I'm by myself. So serendipity, perhaps. Now again, don't get it twisted. Love my family and all that, but I do prefer to do these trips. Nice half moon up there. So not a banana moon, but like a half moon. I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah, I like to do these trips by myself just so I can pace on it, go at my own pace. Like I just stopped and grabbed some Chick-fil-A, but very quickly, quick little tinkle in the bathroom, and I was off. I discovered, and I'd known this was coming up for like a couple weeks. My bank card was declined as I was paying for it, but then she got like clarification and it said expired, right? So had to make sure that was announced, right? So it didn't look like I didn't have the $17 and some change for my two sandwiches at Chick-fil-A. And I knew this was coming up. I have had my new TD Bank card like just sitting on my dresser, figuratively, but it's in my bedroom for months. But like I figured let me use my card till like the last day or whatever, and then I wasn't even paying attention. It expired 7/20/25, so literally yesterday. As today is August 1st, my aunt's birthday. My aunt upstairs. Was able to wish her happy birthday, give her a card and everything, nice hug and a kiss, and a swift kick in the behind. I'm joking. But yeah, we were able to spend a little bit of quality time. My cousin came by, her son, her grandsons and everything. Nice little heartwarming moment while I worked and stuff. Fairly busy today because, of course, we've been down one. It's kind of becoming like par for the course. My team lead was out for like the better part of 2 weeks. And then my other colleague was out this week, and he's out, I think, until like Tuesday. I made a mistake. I thought I had Tuesday off. I scheduled Wednesday off. So I might stay at my cousin's house up in, technically, we work behind a VPN, but really you're not supposed to work internationally, but don't tell anyone. I'll probably work Monday and then drive up Monday evening for Tuesday, but I took Wednesday off as a recovery day. I thought it was Tuesday, so in any event, I might come back Sunday evening and I might come back Monday evening. I mean, I could stay there until Tuesday if I wanted to, but we'll see how that works out. My cousin, she has plenty of space. She ended up staying and let, her son's father take her son, hope I didn't confuse you there, to the soccer tournament in Montreal, which is, I think, about like 4 hours east of Toronto. So as I said before, logistically, I could have rode with my cousin to my aunt's, but they're like on the other side of Lake Ontario, so like an hour and a half west, I guess. So this is the closest point. Like I'm able to get to my cousin's house in like 7 hours on the button, maybe even a little bit less depending on how I'm driving. So because I'm driving late night and I still have like another like 5.5 hours to go in this drive, my cousin was really feeling that. And then my other cousin, who's on the other side of Springfield, she joined the fray. So as the diabolical plan kind of like unearthed itself, I think what was going to happen is they were going to spring on me just as this, my one cousin sprung on me. I think it was going to be like, hey cuz, I'm riding up to Toronto with you. And then it was like, hey cuz, I'm riding up to Toronto with you. But then it ended up becoming enough of a party. I guess there was like 7 others. Obviously my little RAV4 it can hold, my cousin, my other cousin, we'll call her S, and her daughter, call her K, that lives in Springfield with me. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be 4 of us. It could handle easily the 4 of us in our luggage. But apparently there were 7 of them. Like when you add, so aside from the 3 of them, like another 4. Obviously, we can't go, and most people don't like to drive essentially overnight. I'll be in Toronto by like 3:30ish, 3:40ish. Me, I love driving overnight, and my car's reliable enough. I'm not afraid. I mean, knock on wood, praise God. I don't think anything's gonna go wrong with it. My cousin, who originally kind of invited himself along, he has like a 2002 or 2001 Tahoe, rusty trusty. Like, those are pretty reliable trucks, but like, you never know once you start getting to those ages. as if my RAV4 is that much newer. It's a 2009, but it's like, lower mileage and really good shape, and I'm like anal retentive with the maintenance and stuff. I even, like, before I left, like, gave it a wash and cleaned up the wheels and stuff. That's just how I am. So anyway, and to his credit, he usually rents a vehicle when he goes out of town, especially, but I think some of that was like a little bit of cover. I think it was just that they had so many people that it made sense to rent a big truck, and he ended up renting a brand new Tahoe, which, can easily seat like 7 or 8. So it worked out. The 7 of them, I'm not sure who the other 5 are. They left a while ago, like probably like around like noontime or so. So they should have been in Toronto a while ago. So all's well that ends well. But I can tell that that's not what the original plan was. It just kind of worked out. I guess I'll find out when I get up there and do the itinerary and all that who the other 5 were. Chances are they probably didn't want to ride by themselves. They wanted to ride during daylight, and it just made sense for them to kind of join parties. But hence another reason why I don't like surprises, because they usually are not like, hey, here's a surprise, here's $10,000. It's usually something like inconvenient that you don't necessarily want to do. But like I said, love my family, but this is the preferred way. And then also, we're not like, joined at the hip when we get up there, and I can just kind of like leave when I want to. So I swear our phones are like listening to us. A video that came up on my feed, on my YouTube feed, which, of course I listen to it. I love like anthropological and historical videos. It's about why the Northeast is essentially divided into like two halves. So there's like southern Northeast, which essentially is like southern New England, then plus like New York City and I guess like northern Jersey, like that area. It doesn't quite stretch down to like Pennsylvania, Philadelphia or anything. But apparently, I didn't realize it was this densely populated. Somehow, I got to add the pieces. I know that New York City, New York itself has almost 30 million people. I think about like 20 million of that is like New York City and the Metroplex, and then Boston's like another like 5 million. So that's like 25 million. I'm not really sure where the rest is coming from, but essentially, the Northeast, colloquially, has about 50 million people. It's like the densest populated part of the United States, but the upper part, so basically like Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and upstate New York, only has about 5 million people. So roughly equivalent to the same population as Metro Boston. And then the rest of like the lower part of the Northeast, as it were, has like 45 million people. So like way more, and it kind of explains why things are the way they are. When you stop and think about it, it's very intuitive. It makes sense. Much of upstate New York and Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine is just kind of like thickly covered forest and like granite, and isn't great for like farming and crops and stuff like that, and accessibility in terms of like ports and stuff like that. The land is just way more fertile and more like prairie-like and just kind of open and flattish. In the southern part of the Northeast. Hopefully I'm not confusing you. And a lot of like the mountain ranges, they peak further up north, like into like Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. So it's like not ideal for for just like living and arability and all that. And a lot of it's like historical too. It was like a buffer land between the like the Spanish and French, and then like the southern part was like, you know, the United States. Or actually, no, I'm getting that wrong. The British, which kind of used, yeah. So like the British and the French. I mean, it changed, it rotated over time, but from the early days of the country, like, you know, you think of like the Revolutionary War, there's like a buffer area, and then they basically used Canada as like a base of operations to battle the United States, you know, during the Revolutionary War. So interesting stuff, and I'm sure it came up because it must have heard me talking about, like, you know, Toronto and driving through like upstate New York or something like that, which, you know, I have no big problem with. So yeah, family reunion 2025. It'll be like, you know, a quick jaunt for me, like 2-3 days. It's like one of those things where it's like the drive is just on the edge of doable. It's like roughly the distance of, like, you know, me driving to Washington D.C. from Springfield. So you know, seat of the pants. That's like the type of drive that you probably would do with little planning, but it's like it's like kind of like the last outpost of, like, let me just get up and go. You know, any longer than that, and you'd probably just fly it. I mean, the total ride is almost 500 miles, which usually in my mind is about the cutoff of, like, you know, flight or drive. I'm a little crazy. Like, I don't really like to fly, and I prefer road trips, so I might extend that for a guy like me closer to like 600 or 700 miles. But for most people, usually the general rule of thumb is about 400 miles. This trip is like 480 miles one way. But in any event, it's very peaceful. As you can see, not many people out here. I mean, I've been talking for a while, and I don't think there's been, I mean, of course I've been talking, so I haven't been paying attention. I don't think a car's passed me in a while. And that's how it'll be for a bit. I'm in like a straightaway that's like 140 miles, of which I probably have maybe like 35 miles left. It's funny though, because it shows you like the difference in expanse of the Northeast compared to like out west. When you're out in the desert, there's like signs where it's like, you know, next city, like, you know, Las Vegas or whatever, like 700 miles or something. It's just like a long straightaway, which is why with the 228, the BMW 228, I was able to blast up to like 130 miles an hour with plenty of straightaway to go. But like, I start getting a little nervous once I get much over like 120 miles an hour. That's about as extra legal as I would get. If I was probably in a more dedicated sports car, like maybe a Corvette or even like an M3 or something like that, I might be willing to take it up to like 150 or something like that. But and the 228 was you know, it has like the M package and everything with like a lower, firmer suspension, etc., etc. But it was pretty stable at like 130ish. But, you know, I just started getting a little scared, so I'm like, all right, let's not invite the devil. But yeah, it's been a peaceful drive. So I'm making my requisite video, just kind of, you know, yakking. I had my one-on-one with my team lead. They kind of hinted like, you know, pleased with my performance or whatever, and I'm in the meets range. That's probably why my manager has been nicer to me of late. You know, just a little backstory. She didn't write my recommendation letter for law school because, you know, essentially she just didn't like me. Long story short, and, you know, I continue to get kind of like the lower end of raises at her discretion, but I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna rock the boat to get like an extra $1 or whatever. But, you know, it does suck. But like, you know, I'm like a big picture type of guy. But yeah, so far so good. Things are good. We have a lot of new software coming, you know, ATS, you know, advanced time segmentation, eMoney, probably Right Capital. And these are softwares that are used other places, but they're customized for us. But I don't know them too well. And that's in addition to like our Advice Pay, which is like our kind of like proprietary sort of invoicing system for reps that, you know, just like electronically bill for, you know, for financial plans, which is kind of like where everything's going, right? It's kind of going to like the set it and forget it, or like the regular stream of income, because if you have to like reapproach and bill individually every time, it's really just an opportunity for the customer just to say no. So think of it as like Netflix, but for financial advice, and not the hardest software to learn. It's like one of those that is fairly easy. There goes the car that passed me. Speak of the devil, there's another one, but it took a while. It's kind of where everything is going, where a lot of things are going towards like a subscription based as we, unplug and get away from like, traditional cable and a lot of things, right? Where it used to be like, you sat down every so often with the financial advisor and they, build you like the above, over and above the requisite 1%, maybe like $1,500 for the visit. Now they're just kind of breaking it up and making it more painless, where it's like quarterly or monthly, $150 or whatever, and it's a nice way of creating a income stream for the advisor. In fairness, though, it does prompt more contact instead of like just like once a year, where it's just like you're just kind of doing it, just going through the motions just for the sake of, because like FINRA requires that you chat at least once a year. Now it's a more robust relationship that's, I guess, like mutually beneficial. So far, even with all the weirdness going on with our presidency and in Washington, economy seems all right, though we just had a negative jobs report. So we'll see. Hopefully that's not, as we know, the first quarter we were down 0.3 GDP was. So far for the last month, GDP was up 3%, but some of the fundamentals do seem to indicate that there may be a recession coming. Obviously, that I'm Team Blue, but I'm also pro-America, right? So I don't want anything, because it's not just frivolous, right? So as much as you want, the red side to take some L's, those represent losses for like the American people, right? So you want everybody to do well. So it's kind of like a weird, conflict of interest conundrum. I don't want to see the economy do poorly. We do know, though, historically, that let's just say during certain presidencies, there will be a recession. So it may be a fait accompli anyway. So you might as well ride the wave and get some benefit from it. But in general, because we know if the economy goes down, that means like a rise in violent crime and a bunch of other externalities and criminality and stuff like that. Even aside from just like violent crime, people kind of then go into like survival mode or whatever, and then just like a lot of other bad things that are downstream of that you don't want. But yeah, that's my little disciple economic report or whatever. But it was at the front of my mind because I was listening to some videos about that earlier. But yeah, figures to be a nice weekend. I made contact with a friend up there, but she's actually having family in town from Trinidad, so I might not see her. I love efficiency, but as it is, I do have enough on my itinerary. But it would be nice since I'm not up here all that often. The next time I'll be up here will probably won't be until spring, if not next summer. So it'd be nice to see as many people as possible, which is why I'm kind of playing the days by ear, where I might make it 2 days, could be 3 days, could be 4 days. Maybe I'll just split the difference. But anyway, let me just enjoy the rest of this drive, this very serendipitous drive. It could have easily have been not so zen, and I could have had either one person or a cadre of people, which would have possibly made this a miserable drive. But such as it is, it's been wonderful. Of course, the main objective is stay alert, stay awake, stay safe. But in terms of like the first world person or first world type stuff, it's a great time to listen to like a sermon, maybe listen to some gospel music, maybe listen to some of my murder music. I bet when's the last time you heard that in the same sentence? But probably mostly just listen to a podcast and zen out. But of course, safety first. Anyway, the Lord is faithful. Stay with me. God bless.